everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jessica, and today I have a plan to pan video for you. You probably already saw that by the title. And this is going to be for my Pan That Palette 2025. Now, I don't know what the Fantastic Ladies theme is yet, but I do know that I am going to be doing the Better Together with whatever the theme is. If it's a theme that will fit a palette that I feel like working on, I will be doing that. I have done them, I think, every year that we have had a theme. But of course, if it's some off-the-wall theme, or I don't have something that fits the bill, or it's not something that I want to pan, of course I'm not going to be doing that. But if I can, I will be doing the Fantastic Ladies theme, and I will be doing Better Together. And of course, I always have my BYOP, which is Build Your Own Palette, that I do with Dana and a bunch of other people. So this is me trying to figure out which palettes I realistically want to work on next year. So I have a bunch of palettes here in front of me, and some of them have good usage on them. Some of them have very minimal usage on them. So I'm going to go through and show you the ones that I have pulled out. And I will tell you the ongoing theme here is I do not have a monochromatic palette, kind of like I'm doing the Huda Beauty Amethyst Obsessions palette this year, which is all pinks and purples. I do not have anything like that for this year, except for maybe like neutrals, which neutrals you can use anytime you want because they go with everything. The only thing I do have that's even remotely like that, you guys are going to recognize, and I have said in the past that I do want to finish it in 2025. I don't know if I necessarily want to finish it as a Pan That palette, but my Coastal Scents 88 palette. Let me show you where it is, because I've had a lot of people ask what it looks like now, and I know I just did an update a few months ago, but it has changed still. But this is what she is looking like right now. So I have some blues, but I have a lot of greens. A lot of greens. So I definitely want this done and out of my collection in 2025. That is an absolute given. But do I really want to focus on this as a Pan That palette? Not really. Realistically, what I want to do is pick a random shade here or there to throw in a project, or use the shades in here to franken other things, because, you know, I like to get my franken on. And that is primarily, I think, how I'm going to use this up in the coming year. So while I definitely want to get it done next year, I don't want you to consider this as a contender for Pan That palette for me, because, yeah, I don't want to focus on it in that capacity. I do, however, have a bunch of palettes here, and this may not be all that I am considering. I have looked through my palettes, and at this moment that I'm sitting down here talking to the camera, these are the ones that I am thinking about. There may be some other ones that come into my life between now and the start of the year. Who knows? There may be some that I'm just not thinking about. Maybe I have them pulled out in other projects, so they're not in my palette drawer. You know how that goes. If you know of a palette that I'm not showing that you think I should work on, let me know in the comments. I know it's hard to remember everything that everyone has, but if there's something that you have in the back of your mind that you're like, why didn't she show that palette? And you think that's something that I should do, let me know down below, because I got so much going on up here that I forget things. I do. I forget things. So let me show you what I'm thinking about so far. I did pick 3 Quints because they're easy. I like easy, and I have 3 of them from Colourpop. This first one is Cherish. Notice it's not, I mean, I guess technically it's kind of monochromatic, but this is still fairly neutral for me. Does not have much usage on it, but it's still only 5 shades. So Colourpop, from my experience, is not the easiest to pan. These pans are very deep, and it could take a while, but it is very pretty and somewhat neutral. Now this next one is also in that same Colourpop line. I actually have 3 of them that are like this. This one is definitely more warm but neutral, but it is also reminiscent of some palettes that I've been working on this year. But I know that I like them. I know I will use them. I know how to use them. So yeah, I'm comfortable in this color scheme. I'm not as comfortable as like this one, though I do like it. But this one, I don't know, it speaks to me. So yeah, there's another possibility. And then this one is definitely much more cool toned, but even more neutral. So this one is Ballad. Did I tell you what the orangey one was? Crush. That's what this one is, Crush. And this one is Ballad. I do have one pan in this shade right here, which is a fantastic transition shade. And yeah, it's got a sparkly black in there and a gray, but I feel like I could use those. These are very usable colors for me. I generally don't go for cool toned colors, but these seem really easy to me. So I don't know, that is definitely a contender as well. Everything else that I'm going to show you is definitely bigger than these palettes. So let's get into those. The first one is actually my Bare Minerals Mineralist palette. This is the sunlit version of it, and it is definitely neutral. But these are easy colors, and I've already got massive pan in this one. Massive progress, I should say. Mini pan, massive progress. It has got a huge dip in there, plus that pan. But I feel like these neutrals can blend with a lot of other things that I could possibly work on. Sure, there's some dark colors in there, but I like it. This color story just really speaks to me. So this is definitely a contender. So let me know what you think about this one. And again, this one is the Bare Minerals Mineralist Sunlit palette. I have one last palette that is from Colourpop here, and that is Blush Crush. This one is so stinking pretty, and it is going to be almost too easy to pan, I think. These are definitely easy to use colors for me, and I feel like I would tear this palette up in no time, because these to me, while they are berry tones and not technically neutral, these are right at my wheelhouse, and I really feel like I could put a hurting on that palette. Okay, now we're moving on to some slightly larger palettes. I've got a few here. This one you saw last year, I hit pan on it. This one is officially called the Revolution Reloaded Provocative Palette. It has a pan in every single shade, and it is super pretty. I've got some slightly warm, some slightly cools, my berries, my oranges, though there's nothing super orange here. It's definitely more on the berry side, though this one did pull warm on me, and a few others really did. But this one, again, it is kind of, but not really, monochromatic because of the way they pull on my skin tone. And to me, this is a neutral palette. I could wear this every single day of the year and be very happy with it. There are a lot of shades in this palette, which is a little bit of a concern, and they aren't insanely deep, but they are probably deeper than you would think considering the size of each of these shadows. I don't know how much is in each one, because that would require me to be able to read microscopic stuff on the back of this palette, which I can't do it. It's way too tiny. But there's a lot of shadow in each one of these pans, and there are 18 pans, 15 pans. Do the math, Jessica. 5 by 3 is 15. All right, so now that we've established that I can't do math on the fly, what do you think? What do you think of this palette? I don't know. I'm kind of considering it. It's one that I definitely like, but everything that I've showed you so far, I really like the color stories. Now, speaking of color stories, I have, the rest of them have much more diverse color stories to them, and two of them are actually from Too Faced. So we've got the Too Faced Love palettes. This one doesn't have as much usage on it on some of them, but I do have multiple pans. Let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pans on here. Yeah, there's some dark shades, but I'm not intimidated by dark shades. Like if there was half the palette was dark shades, yeah, I might be intimidated by that. But everything else, but these 3 shades are easily usable.
And these dark shades coordinate within each little quadrant here. It's not quadrant, Jessica, there's only 3.
But each one of these dark shades coordinates within each section. And I like to deepen my outer corners with these. I like to set my eyeliner with these. So this one I could absolutely see myself panning. So that is also a possibility, and a little bit more variety in the color. My other Too Faced palette is the Gingerbread palette, or Gingerbread Spice palette, I should say. I always just call it Gingy, and this is what this one looks like. I have 1, 2, 3 empty pans in this, and everything else in here has pan, so it definitely has a good head start, and it smells good. I really like the smell of this palette. There's a lot of easy to use shades in here. It is on the warmer side, but I don't know. There's still, like, we've got the hot pink and everything else. I feel like this is a very usable palette. It is a very reflective palette. I apologize for that, but this is definitely one that I would consider panning for next year. My last 2 palettes that I have picked are very colorful, and I'm kind of excited because it is a lot of variety, but they're also so colorful that it's kind of like, ooh, can I use all of those colors on a regular basis? The first one is from BH Cosmetics. It is the Lost in Los Angeles palette. And I have one shade that is completed and then 2 other pans. So this is what mine is looking like. So this one, that was a pink. I finished that one. And then these 2 here have pans. There's a lot of color going on here. And blue. There's a blue right there. This is like a silvery blue, which it's not bad. I learned to like it when I hit pan on it. Okay, I didn't learn to like it, but I learned to tolerate it. You know what I'm saying. But there's a lot of fun colors here. You know, I've got cools, I've got warms, I've got all sorts of colors to play with. So I could logistically put this in my basket and never have the same look every single day. I could mix it up and it could be a lot of fun to play with. I've got mattes that go with shimmers and, you know, there's just a lot here that could be played with. So that is definitely a contender if I can hold on to it and I don't drop it on myself. So BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles is definitely a contender for me. And then my very last one, I have not used this one a ton. I did hit a pan, or actually technically 2 pans in shimmers, and that's not a lot of progress in this one. So this is the Odins Eye Norns palette, and there's a lot of shadows in here. 4x4, what's that, 16? I can math after all. So that's what she looks like. There is a lot more darker, bold colors in here, but there's a lot of shimmers that I feel like are going to be easy to use. So that is definitely a possibility. It's colorful, but at a different level. Like Lost in Los Angeles has a lot more pastel-y type colors. These are more like grungy, fun, a little bit deeper colors. But I don't know, I feel like I could have fun with this one as well. And I do have my, like I said, my BYOP that I will be using, and I will coordinate that. When I decide which palette I want to pan for next year, I will probably do a refresh on my BYOP to coordinate with whatever I'm bringing in for the year. It only makes sense because, you know, I don't want things that are going to clash or not going to work with anything else that I'm using. So I have some big decisions to make. Again, I do not know what the theme is for Fantastic Ladies yet because we are still in our polling process. And I mean, there are some ideas. I can see which ones are being a little bit more favored right now, but I still don't know what's going to be the one in the end. So I don't know. I kind of want to pan what I want to pan. And if it fits the theme, then I'll do the theme. But if it doesn't fit the theme, then I don't know. You see where I'm going with this? I'm so indecisive. I've got so much going on that my brain has decision fatigue, which is why I need you guys to help me with this one. So let me know what you think. Like I said, I've got these 3 Quints from Colourpop. I have Ballad, which is, actually I should show them in the order that I showed them. I have Cherish, which is these kind of like warm berry tones. I have Crush, which is these orangey neutral tones. Ballad, cool neutral tones. Then I have the Bare Minerals palette. Colourpop Blush Crush, which is stunning. Revolution Reloaded Provocative, which is also stunning. I would love to work on that one as well. I've got my 2 from Too Faced. We've got the Love palette and the Gingerbread Spice palette. And then my very last 2 are the BH Cosmetics Lost in Los Angeles or the Odins Eye Norns palette. So we are not considering the Coastal Scents 88, even though I do intend to get it done next year. That is not going to be considered as a Pan That Palette contender because I'm going to piecemeal that one and get it done that way. So let me know in the comments below if there are any that you think that I should pan, any you think I shouldn't pan, or if there's multiples that you're kind of like undecided on. Let me know down there, and it will definitely help me make a decision for this upcoming year. Usually I have an idea of what I want to pan for the upcoming year. I kind of know in advance, like one that I'm feeling way more strongly about than others. This year, I just don't know. I really have no idea, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to think about it logistically, and I kind of don't want to have to make that decision by myself. So let me know down below what you think I should pan, And I guess that is everything. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until I see you on my next video, have a beautiful day.